Are you thinking about getting your real estate license in the state of Maryland? Well, in this video, I'm going to go through a complete step-by-step guide on how to get licensed and start your new real estate career. My name is Chris. I've been a licensed real estate agent full-time for the past 10 years. I'm also a real estate coach, and I've been able to help hundreds of people get their real estate license and get started with a new career. Before we dive into this video, make sure to click the link down below and grab your copy of our real estate license starter kit. Everything inside this video, plus more, is inside that guide, and it's completely free to download, so make sure to check it out. Also, down in the description, you're going to find a link to my favorite real estate school. And the reason I like this school is because they have a pass or don't pay guarantee. And this is an awesome feature because they really stand behind what they're teaching, and they believe they can truly help you pass the real estate exam, which is something a lot of people struggle with and fail. So if you want to check them out, there is an affiliate link down below where you'll also find different sales and discounts on their classes. So make sure to check that out. So the very first step of getting your real estate license in Maryland is just meeting some of the basic requirements. The first one is you must be 18 years old or older. You must have a high school diploma or a GED, and you must be a legal US resident or citizen. Another thing to know is that you must be able to pass a criminal background check. Now, if you have something on your record that might prevent you from getting licensed, make sure to reach out to the Real Estate Commission and have the conversation ahead of time, because it doesn't mean you can't get licensed, but it may disqualify you. So have the conversation ahead of time if there is a concern with your record. The second step of the process is completing your state-approved pre-license education. In the state of Maryland, you're required to complete 60 hours of state-approved pre-license education classes. Now, I know 60 hours sounds like a ton of time to invest, but the good news is you can do this in person or online. I actually recommend the online option because it's much more convenient and flexible if you have a busy schedule. During these classes, you're going to learn a lot of really important things like real estate law, real estate math, real estate ethics. These are all things that you're going to run into when you're actually practicing real estate and you start your career. And they're also very important things you need to know in order to actually pass your real estate exam. So make sure to pay attention during your real estate classes. Now, one important thing to know is you must take state-approved real estate classes. You can't just take any random classes and think they're going to count towards your 60 hours. They must be state approved. Step number 3 is scheduling and passing your real estate exam. In the state of Maryland, the exams are done by PSI Exams. In order to schedule your exam, you can do this online or in person. Just make sure to give them at least a 24-hour notice in advance. Now, when you get to the testing center on test day, you want to bring a couple basic things. The first thing is a basic non-scientific calculator for the math portion of the exam. You're definitely going to want to bring that because the math questions can be tricky without it. And you also want to bring 2 forms of identification. This could be a US passport, a driver's license, a credit card, a debit card. Just make sure you bring 2. Now, once you get into the testing center, you're probably wondering, how is the exam done? Like, how is the experience? Well, the exam is all multiple choice, and that's the good news. But it's also the bad news, and I want to give you a quick warning. Make sure you read each question multiple times before you finally submit your answer, because the questions can be set up in a tricky way. Now, they're not trying to trick you. That's not their intention, but they do want to make sure that you understand the content fully before they pass you and give you a real estate license. You have plenty of time to complete this exam, so make sure you don't rush through it and at least read each question multiple times before you finally submit your answer. Now, the exam itself is split into 2 different parts. You have a state portion of the exam and a national portion of the exam. And the good news is if you pass one and fail the other, you can just come back and take the part that you failed. You don't have to retake the part that you passed. So that's the good news. Now, once you complete your exam, you're going to know right away if you passed or failed. A passing score for the exam is 70% or higher, and they're going to let you know right away. Now, if you failed the exam, don't be too upset. There are so many top agents that I know in my market that failed the exam multiple times. And it didn't mean they were going to be bad agents. In fact, they turned out to be rock star agents. So don't take it as a sign that you're going to be bad at this. Just know you have to study harder and give it another try. Now, if you did pass the exam, it's time to celebrate. This is a huge milestone, and you should definitely celebrate this win because you're one step closer to getting licensed. Then we're going to move on to step number 4, which is getting your fingerprinting and background check done. The state of Maryland requires a fingerprinting and background check, and this must be done before you apply for your license. Also, make sure you use a authorized fingerprinting provider that's approved by the state of Maryland. Once you have that done, it's time to move on to step number 5, which is applying for your real estate license. What you want to do is you want to package up all the stuff you've done up to this point. Let's go back to the very start of this video, and we want to get the completed pre-license education, that you went through the completed 60 hours of state-approved classes. You want to get your passing score to your real estate exam, and you want to get your background check that you just completed. We want to package that all up and send it out with our license application. From there, we want to move on to step number 6, and that's finding your sponsoring broker. This is one of the most fun parts of the process, but it's also one of the most important, because this is going to be your very first real estate mentor. And if you pick the wrong brokerage, you can end up in a situation that sets you back a long ways. So I want to give you a couple important questions to ask when you're choosing your first brokerage. The first question to ask is, what kind of training and mentorship do you provide? Are you going to get access to a one-on-one mentor that's going to help you through your deals for the first couple deals? Or do you just have generic classes that you can show up to every now and then? And if there are classes, are they specifically for brand new agents, or are they for more experienced agents? Because these are two very different things. So make sure to ask that question up front. The next question to ask is, how are you going to help me market my business? One of the biggest problems agents have is that they can't figure out how to get clients. And that's why they eventually fail out of the business. So make sure you ask this question ahead of time and really figure out if they're going to help support you and grow your business in a way that feels right for you. Also, if you want things like real estate leads, make sure to ask the question if they have any teams in their office or if they offer leads themselves. This is a very important question, especially if you're trying to go full-time right off the bat. The last question I would ask is about the monthly fees and the brokerage splits. So the very first thing you want to ask them about this part is, are there any monthly fees associated with being a part of their brokerage? Because this can get expensive as a new agent, especially if you don't have any deals and income coming in. So every brokerage is different. Some brokerages have no monthly fees. Others can be up to a couple $100s per month just to be a part of their brokerage. So make sure you ask this question ahead of time. The second thing to ask is, what are the commission splits? What does it look like once I make a commission? How much of that money do I actually get to keep, and how much money does the brokerage take? This is an important question as well. But I don't want you to hyper focus on that, because it's much more important to find a brokerage that has good training and mentorship that's going to actually teach you to be successful than it is to find a brokerage with super high commission splits, especially as a brand new agent. Because if you don't ever sell a deal, 100% of nothing is still nothing. So make sure you find a place that's going to give you the support and resources you need to succeed. So now that you have all the steps you need to get licensed, I want to cover some of the most common questions that I get asked. The first one is, how much does it actually cost to get your real estate license in the state of Maryland? Well, I would estimate anywhere between $500 and $800, depending on which brokerage you pick, what kind of classes you pick, and also if you use any prep tools to help you study for the exam, and you have to purchase those as well. The next question I get a lot is, how long does it take to go through this process? Well, in Maryland, you have about 60 hours of state-approved classes you have to do. So considering all that, to do this whole process, I would estimate anywhere between 6 to 10 weeks. Now, it might take you longer if you move at a slower pace, and that's totally fine. Or some people really speed through it and they get it done a little sooner. Another question I get is the real estate exam hard? Well, to be honest, the exam is hard, and a lot of people do fail it the first time. But you don't have to, because there are real estate exam prep tools out there that can give you the confidence you need to succeed. I myself found the textbooks incredibly boring to read, and I just knew I wasn't going to have the confidence to pass the exam if I didn't get a exam study tool. So I highly suggest you check out CompuCram. There is an affiliate link down below where you can check out their exam prep tool. And what it does is it takes you through test-like simulations, and it helps you study for the exam in a very interactive way that mirrors what the real estate exam is actually like. So if you're lacking the confidence and you don't know if you're going to be able to pass, I highly suggest you check out a tool like CompuCram. And the last question I get is, can I start part-time? And the truth is, you absolutely can start part-time. I know many agents that have a full-time job and they work part-time, or they have a part-time job and they're also a part-time agent. and then they eventually transition into being a full-time agent if they like the career and it takes off. So it's totally up to you however you want to build this. And that's the best thing about it, is you get to design the kind of business that you want to build. You could be a part-time agent and do a couple deals a year. There are so many people that do that. Or you can build it into a real estate empire and do 20, 40, 50 deals a year and really make a large income if you're willing to work hard and do the work. So it's entirely up to you, and you can build your business the way you want to build it. So absolutely, you can do this part-time. So if you have more questions that I didn't answer, make sure to drop them in the comment section below. I'll get back to you ASAP. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because I'm going to be coming out with more content all about getting licensed and starting a new career. I hope the video helped. Thanks again. Have a great day.